Good evening, dear listeners. Welcome back to another episode here on Mzansi Confessions Corner. Please do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Let us get into our first story. My name is not important. You know my face, you know my work. You have watched me on your screens for years. But after this confession, you will never look at me the same way again. I don't have much time left. I feel it in my bones, the weight of the deal I made, the countdown to my last breath. The truth must be told before I take my final bow. My dream led me to darkness. I always knew I was meant to be a star ever since I was a little girl. Growing up in Johannesburg, I dreamed of being on TV, of hearing people chant my name, of seeing my face on billboards. I worked hard. I went to auditions, studied acting, and sacrificed everything. But no matter how talented I was, the doors never fully opened for me. I remember auditioning for a major TV show, one that could have changed my life. I gave my best performance, yet they gave the role to someone less talented but well connected. It happened over and over again. I was told you don't have the right look. You are not marketable. You need to know the right people. My frustration grew into desperation. One night after yet another rejection, I broke down in my apartment, crying out to the universe. If fame requires more than talent, then show me what it takes. I had no idea my words would be answered in the most terrifying way. A few weeks later, at a high-profile industry event, one of the biggest celebrities in South Africa approached me. She was a household name, an icon. She had a glow, an aura of power. "I have seen you," she said, smiling knowingly. "You want more, don't you? You want to stop knocking on doors and finally be let in." I nodded eagerly. "I would do anything." Her smile widened. "Good, then let me introduce you to my sisters." She took me to an exclusive mansion in Sandton. It was a luxurious, almost otherworldly place. Women in silk robes welcomed me with open arms. They called themselves the sisterhood. They told me that talent alone would never make me successful in this industry. True power comes from a deeper source, one that required ultimate sacrifice. I was intrigued but also wary. "What do I have to do?" I asked. They looked at each other and then at me. "You must be willing to prove your loyalty." One of them said, "You must be willing to surrender yourself completely." I was taken to a dimly lit underground chamber. A thick scent of incense filled the air, and strange symbols were drawn on the walls. In the center of the room was a massive golden throne. At first, I thought I would just be making an oath, maybe cutting my finger for blood. But then a large black serpent slithered into the room. My breath caught in my throat. It was unlike any snake I had ever seen. Its eyes glowed red and its body moved unnaturally. One of the high-ranking women stepped forward and whispered in my ear, "If you want the power, you must be one with the master. You must lay with the serpent." I wanted to run. My body screamed for me to flee, but I thought about all my struggles. The door slammed in my face, the hunger, the humiliation. This was my chance. I closed my eyes and surrendered. The moment I did, a dark force entered me. I felt my body convulse, my mind shatter, and my soul detach. It was like I had died, been reborn as something else, something unnatural. After that night, everything changed. Roles I had begged for were suddenly offered to me without auditions. Directors and producers who had once ignored me now fought to cast me. My beauty seemed intensify. I became irresistible to both men and women. Money, fame, luxury, I had it all, but at cost. There were rules I had to follow. Number 1, I could never love a man again. The sisterhood forbade it. My desires were redirected. I was forced into relationship with other women, even though it wasn't my natural inclination. If I ever showed interest in a man, I would feel a sharp pain in my chest as if something was warning me. Number 2, I could never speak of the rituals. If I did, punishment would follow. Number 3, every year I had to return to the mansion for renewal. Each time the ceremonies got darker, there were sacrifices, animals at first, then other things. I convinced myself it was worth it. After all, wasn't this what I wanted? Wasn't this the price of greatness? But the nightmares began. I would wake up gasping for breath, seeing the serpent's red eyes in my room. My body changed. I would shed skin like a reptile. My pupils would flicker into slits, and my temperature was always cold. Then a few months ago, I received my final message from the sisterhood. Your time is almost up. The contract is closing. Prepare for your exit. I now understand the deal I made. The fame, the wealth, it was never mine. It was borrowed time. And now that time is running out. I feel my body deteriorating. No doctor can diagnose what is wrong with me. My bones ache. My skin feels like it's peeling from the inside, and I hear whispers in the dark calling me back to the place where it all began. I was warned, when my end comes, it won't be natural. Many before me have died mysteriously, car accidents, suicide, overdoses, but those were no coincidences. They were all part of their price. I know what's coming soon. You will hear about my death. It will make headlines. They might say I was sick, depressed, or reckless. But you now know the truth. If you are a young actress reading this, still dreaming of fame, I beg you, do not take the shortcut. Do not seek power in the darkness, because once you step into the shadows, there is no coming back. My time is up. The serpent is calling. I wish I could tell you that I found a way out, that there's a loophole in the contract I signed with my soul, but I know there isn't. The sisterhood keeps their word, and the master they serve does not forgive debt. Since making my confession, strange things have begun happening to me. I feel watched at all the times. My phone rings in the middle of the night, and when I pick up, all I hear is heavy breathing. I receive anonymous messages warning me to stop talking. My dreams have become more vivid, more terrifying. Visions of myself being dragged into a pit of fire, my body twisting and contorting into agony, while the serpent watches its forked tongue flicking in the amusement. I barely sleep anymore. When I do wake up, gasping for air, feeling as if someone has been in my room, standing over me as I lay helpless. But the worst part, my body is deteriorating rapidly. I have lost so much weight that my clothes hang off my frame like rags. My skin has taken off an ashy, almost gray hair. No matter how much I moisturize, my nails have started falling off one by one. When I look in the mirror, I barely recognize the person staring back at me. I used to be beautiful, radiant. Now I look like something out of a horror film. I tried going to a doctor, but every test came back normal. No one can explain why my body is shutting down, but I know this is the contract closing. You see us on your screens walking the red carpets, flashing perfect smiles, wearing expensive clothes, but you don't see what happens behind the scenes. You don't see the price we pay for the fame you admire. Not all of us took the shortcut. They are actors and actresses who made it through talent and hard work. But then there are those of us who were desperate, who were willing to do anything. You ever wonder why so many celebrities in South Africa and around the world die under strange circumstances, found dead in their hotel rooms, apparent suicide, sudden illness with no explanation, car accidents that don't make sense? They were not accident. They were contracts being fulfilled. I know because I have seen it happen before. There was a fellow actress, someone I was very close to. She had been in the industry longer than me, but she was never truly a list. She wanted more. She wanted to be one of them. I remember the night she told me she was ready to do whatever it took. I warned her. I told her that once she stepped into the sisterhood, there was no going back. She laughed it off. She thought she was smart enough to outplay them. 1 year later, she was dead. The official report said she took her own life, but I know the truth. The last time I saw her, she was terrified. She told me she had been seeing shadows in her room, hearing voices whispering her name. She begged me to help her. I told her there was nothing I could do, and now I am in her position. I have tried everything to escape my fate. I went to churches hoping prayer could break the curse, but the moment I stepped inside, I felt a searing pain in my chest, as if something inside me was resisting. The closer I got to the altar, the harder it became to breathe. I collapsed before I could even prayed for. I tried traditional healers. Some refused to help me the moment they saw me. One old Sangoma looked at me and shook her head. "You have something inside you," she said, her voice trembling, "something that does not belong to this world. It will not let you go." I begged her to help me, but she refused. "There is no medicine for what you have done." I even considered running away, leaving South Africa, going somewhere remote where they couldn't find me. But the truth is, there is nowhere to run to. The sisterhood is everywhere. Their reach extends beyond borders, beyond what we think is reality. There's only one way this ends. I know that right now, somewhere out there is a young girl who is just like I was. She has dreams of being famous, of being adored, of being a star. She thinks she can handle the pressure, that she will do whatever it takes to succeed. To that girl, I beg you, do not follow my footsteps. If you have talent, work hard. If they deny you, keep pushing. If the industry rejects you, find another way. Do not allow desperation to lead you into darkness, because once you step in, there is no stepping out. I have accepted my fate. My time is up. If I disappear after this, if you hear of my sudden death, know that it was not natural. Know that this confession was my final act of defiance. I am no longer afraid. The serpent may come for me, but at least now I have told the truth. At least now someone will know. Your strange things do happen. Please, guys, after listening to these confessions, do comment, like, and to those who haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and also do not forget to tell us what you think in the comment section. Let us meet again in the next episode.